Hi, everybody. This is Jenny, Club J Dub, coming at you from my YouTube channel. Today is Saturday, March 29th, and I'm coming at you from Bozeman, Montana. And I'm going to give you a trigger warning right away. This is heavy stuff today. This is tough stuff because I'm going to talk about suicide today. The reason I mention Montana is because Montana is the number 2 in the nation state for the highest number of suicides. First is Wyoming, second is Montana, and third is Alaska. Another staggering statistic that kind of rung home this week for me here in Bozeman, Montana is number 1 in the nation for adolescent suicides. And we just lost another young man from Bozeman this week, an 18-year-old. Took his own life. So suicide has affected my life personally. I'll get to that in a little bit. I have my theories on why Montana has such a high rate of suicide. Some of them are proven things. We have we have easy access to guns here. We have pretty lax gun laws in Montana, which I'm not going to debate that. I'm a gun owner. My family, I come from a long line of family that was gun owners and gun lovers, myself included. We have a high population of veterans, and the access to VA care sometimes can be difficult because we're such a large state. There's not a ton of VA facilities, and some people live miles and miles from those facilities. Plus, from what I understand, if you've been in the system, you know it's hard to access the care sometimes, no matter how close you are. Getting the appointments, getting the care you need, getting through on phone lines and everything, that's pretty tough. We also have a high population in Montana of Native Americans, and those are also a large number of the suicides that we see in Montana is Native Americans. I'm looking at some notes here because I don't want to screw this up. Social isolation. It's a big state. We have a lot of small towns, and there's a lot of social isolation in Montana. I heard a statistic yesterday on a sobriety podcast that the county I live in, Gallatin County, is the drunkest county in the entire nation. We have a huge alcohol culture in Montana. I think that's a contributing factor. And another thing that I don't think is proven, but vitamin D levels. We live in just that strip of the country where vitamin D levels tend to be lower, and vitamin D can play a part in your mood and your disposition. So those are just my theories, but we're number 2 in the nation, and adolescents were number 1. Okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty. My brother died by suicide. My dad died at the end of 2022, and it was a pretty tough thing. He had bladder cancer, and it was a pretty traumatic death for him and for all of us that were involved. My brother and my dad were pretty close. Back up a little bit, my brother had a history of alcoholism. My brother and I had a history of some sexual molestation when we were younger. I think my brother maybe had a little bit of mental illness going on, and he was also a vet, and maybe wasn't getting the care or the help he needed. But January 28th of 2023, my brother took a gun to his head and shot himself at the age of 54. My mother found him. It was pretty traumatic for everyone involved. So that was tough stuff. And I've always told myself that my brother and I were just completely different. Even though he was an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic. I just always felt like the way we dealt with things was different. The way we approached things was different. I try to keep a big social circle around me. He used to have a big social circle, and he had tried to get sober many times. At the end, he was very isolated. I don't know if he had a lot of contact with friends or not, but I think he was pretty isolated, and he was devastated when my dad died, so he took his own life. So anyway, I always told myself this narrative that we were not alike at all. Like, suicide had never really been a thought that entered my head or something that I had ever considered. Anyway, fast forward to 2024. About August of 2024, my back freaked out. I'm a fitness instructor. I immediately started having terrible pain. I thought it was my hip, turned out to be my back. I had 2 herniated discs. And if you've been through the whatever you want to call it, you go to the doctor. First, they make you do physical therapy because your insurance requires that before they'll pay for an MRI. Got the MRI, got the injections, nothing helped. I was in this kind of holding pattern to actually get a permanent fix, and my back was not even my back, my leg. If you've had the herniated disc, the pain, anyway, pain going down my butt cheek into my leg, it was pretty debilitating. So that started in August, and then my husband's mother died, and then shortly after that, my shoulder had been bothering me for a long time. My shoulder freaked out, and I went in and finally got that looked at, and I had a pretty severe rotator cuff tear as well as a bicep tear. So that was painful, but also just one more thing I knew I was going to have to deal with surgically. So I was in a ton of physical pain and a ton of emotional pain. Like I said, my dad had died. I was still trying to deal with that. My brother had died. And then a couple of my good friends had died, especially in October of 2024. My friend Patrice died, and she had breast cancer, which I had a history of breast cancer also. And there's a thing called survivor's guilt, where when friends around you start dying from the same disease that you have or had, you kind of get that survivor's guilt. But I got in a really dark place, and I started having suicidal thoughts. And I just wanted to be out of physical pain, out of emotional pain, and I couldn't help but thinking how my friend that died, she wanted to live. She wanted to live so badly, and I was thinking I didn't want to live. So I had a ton of guilt about that. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people are hearing this for the first time. I had some friends. I reached out to a handful of friends, and it makes people really uncomfortable to have that conversation, and people don't really know what to say or what to do. No one really ever asked me if I had access to a gun, which I have access to several guns. I told my husband I was having those thoughts. I don't really think he knew what to say or how to deal with that. It got to the point where I was thinking I didn't want to do this to my children, but I was also thinking, how would I do it? If I was going to do it, how would I do it? Carbon monoxide. Knew I didn't want to shoot myself and leave that trauma or mess for anybody. Um, I'd be on the way home, and there's a stoplight that comes to our house, and the oncoming traffic is speed limit's 55, but most people drive faster than that, and it's a truck that has a lot of semi trucks on it. And I'd be at that yellow light waiting to turn, and there'd be a truck coming, and I was having those thoughts like I could do it right now. I could do it right now. It was really dark, and I was really surprised. And then I was thinking about drinking a lot, and then I started to think maybe I'm not that different from my brother. We're cut from the same cloth. I'm also an alcoholic. And anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just full disclosure. Like, I started having those thoughts on a daily basis and started thinking that everyone would be better off without me. Didn't want to go through the surgeries, not knowing if they were going to get me out of pain. Another thing, I was diagnosed. So I had ulcerative colitis, diagnosed with that like 20 years ago. I had my large intestine taken out. 2024 summer, I had an endoscope, and I woke up and they said, Jenny, we're really concerned that you have Crohn's disease now. And so I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which in a normal person would suck, but in a person that's already lost half of their digestive system, it's a grimmer prognosis. So that was weighing heavily on me. Anyway, so just getting this all out and sharing that. Talk to people. If it's going on in your head, talk to people. There is a phone number you can call now. It's a 3-digit number, and it's not 911, it's 988. You can pick up the phone and dial 988, and you will be connected with somebody that can help you through those feelings. Am I having those feelings now? No. I had the back surgery, and it completely fixed my problem. Pain was gone. I had this shoulder surgery 6 weeks ago, and still in a lot of pain from that, but it's a longer recovery, and I know there's hope. So I just want to start the conversation. It's okay to talk about it. We should be talking about it more. We should be more comfortable talking about it, and we need to ask the hard questions. Are you safe? Do you have access to a gun? Have you thought about, if you did it, how you would do it? And we need to talk to our kids about it. It's tough stuff, but it is what it is. So It's really all I have to say today, but I felt like a hypocrite and imposter syndrome because I teach fitness classes and I try to be really positive and pump everybody up. But at the end of last year, I was feeling like a hypocrite because I was having those thoughts go through my head on a daily basis. I didn't drink. I'm still sober. I obviously didn't do anything to harm myself, but I got in a dark place. I've gotten myself out of that place now, but it happens. And when it happens, it's scary. So, anyway, take it for what it's worth. I'll post a little slide in here that has that 988 suicide helpline if you're having trouble, just need to talk to somebody. You can call that number. You can call me if you know me personally. A lot of people that are subscribers know me personally. Give me a call and I'd be happy to talk to you about that, about sobriety, about anything. But that's my story. Again, it's Saturday, March 29th here in Bozeman, Montana, and that's all I have to say today. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and reach out if you're struggling.